Hello, very good morning. Welcome to JS Testing Academy. Welcome to the next part of video, right in the Rest Assured series. In the previous part of videos, we saw some framework like Spring Boot framework, Alternative framework, or BDD Cucumber framework. Okay, so we executed all the frameworks locally. Okay, but we didn't see any right integration with the ops tools, right? In this video, we'll see how to run this right a particular framework, right, the API framework in the help of Docker. In the next video, we'll integrate that into Jenkins, right, with the help of Docker and C. Okay, so now the concentration is on executing the framework right inside the Docker container. Okay, so we need to right pull the image, then that from that image, the rest assured image, we should pull it right. After pulling, we should right run that image in the Docker container. Okay, that is the agenda here. So Docker container is used instead of running locally, we run in an right isolated environment. Okay, so that is what in a separate server or a machine, right way you do instead of running it locally. Okay, suppose there is a large scale, right, if you want, right, we can use containers to execute right in a particular environment. Okay, so that is the idea behind going for Docker. Okay, so now first thing what we need to do is, right, we need to set up the Docker desktop in our machine. Just Google it, right, go and download the Docker desktop for the Windows or Mac, whatever OS right you are doing. Okay, so go and do it. Okay, next, right, I should have already, we saw the project API automation from framework project. From the first part of video we saw, and we just created this framework step by step. We created this framework, go through the previous videos or how we form the framework. Okay, so after doing, we should do two things, right? We should create a Docker file here. For creating a Docker file, keep the cursor on the project, root project. Then you create a file and name it as Docker file. I've already done here. Just name it as Docker file and click finish. Okay, so make sure you are doing it in the root directory. Okay, so once you click it, right, you create a Docker file here. So, okay, just you can copy this code, right, and you can paste it. Okay, you are telling, right, I'm going to use Maven, right, 3.9.6 and Eclipse, this version of Eclipse I'm going to use it with a JDK 17. Okay, Java 17. Okay, and I'm going to tell this is a working directory where inside the container. Okay, and then the working directory, just make the working directory inside the container. And next one is copy the pom.xml, right from here, and copy it and paste in the container. Okay, and run the source file, and right, copy the source file and keep it in dot slash src, and run the test as clean maven test. Right, command is maven clean test, we normally run, right. So run the maven test. Okay, so this right is used to write the basic setup right of the Docker file to run in a container. Okay, copy the pom.xml, copy all the classes, right, the source files, and also run as a maven clean test and run with a maven right build tool and the Eclipse and the Java 17 version. Okay, so that is what, right, it's mentioned here in the Docker file. Create this file and keep it in the root directory. Okay, so now after keeping it, we need to go to the command prompt. Okay, the path of the project. For that, right click, go to properties, and you go to the project. Okay, and click the API automation framework here. In this, in the right top, you should give command cmd, and you should go to the path of the project. Okay, so once a Docker file is set, you go to the navigate to the path of the project. Make sure you are starting the Docker desktop. Okay, so you should click and the Docker desktop should be opened. Okay, that is the most thing, the Docker should be started right before the execution of the command. Okay, now after this, we need to create first a build a Rust assured image. Okay, we need to pull the Rust assured image and build it, right. For that, what we need to do is, right, we need to give this command. Okay, docker build hyphen t. We are tagging the rest assured image. This is the image rest assured bdd dot docker. We are running the bdd framework. So this image we are pulling it or building it up. Okay, so this is a software, right, which is downloaded and put in the container. Okay, so rest assured only we are running, right? So I'm just building it up. Docker build hyphen t, right, and rest assured bdd dot docker. Okay, let me run it. Okay, it's building. Okay, first command we should give it. Now the image has been built. Okay, after image has been built, it should be executed, right? For that, this is the command. Okay, one one minute. Let me copy it properly. Okay, so docker run rm rest assured bdd docker. So this is the image, and I'm just telling run the docker, start the docker, run it, and remove or stop the container after its execution. That is the understanding of hyphen rm. Okay, run, start the container and stop it after the execution. Which image? This image. Okay, which is placed in the container. Okay, now, right, if I click enter, so it will start running. See, now it's downloading all the dependencies for pom.xml dependencies. This is a normal execution how we run the project, right? See, the build is success here. Okay, so the build is right, the success here. So it executed and it ran successfully, and the build is success. Same thing which we normally we do, right? In the pom.xml will run, right, as a maven test. Same thing we do, right? Same thing, right? The same execution we are doing there, right, in the pom, in the one. Okay, same thing how we run, right? Normally we run, right, see, same thing, it's downloading dependencies, right? Same thing is happening there. Okay, there is some issue in the pom.xml, we have to fix it. Testng, I think, is not set it up. Okay, that's why, right, this build is failure, but to see how it runs, right? So it's going to download all the dependencies and it's going to run. Okay, normally we run this cucumber framework with the help of the testnet class. Okay, normally we run here, right? This is how we do. Normally we'll do the execution. I have seen, I think, hope you executed the previous. This is how we run normally, right? But if you want to run the with the docker, we do execute some commands. Okay, what is the command? Means docker run rm rest assured bdd docker. Okay, so this we executed as a docker file. Suppose, right, suppose, right, I need to run as a docker compose file. Okay, for that I have created one compose file. Okay, suppose, right, I don't need to run as a docker file, I want to run it as a compose file. So I created same thing, same way, I created one file here. Okay, in the root of a project, new file. Okay, docker, right, hyphen compose dot yml file. So make sure here you are creating in this format, docker hyphen compose dot yml file you should create here. And this, right, screen, file will be open, and you can just insert this file lines to very simple line. You are telling which version of docker you are doing, and which services you are doing. Rest assured test, this is the rest assured image which you are going to run. It's going to build and run the rest assured image. Okay, and we are just telling you run the docker file. So this compose file is going to run this docker file. Okay, so there is that it's pinpointing the docker file. If I invoke the docker compose file, it's going to trigger the docker file. In docker file we are given the which maven, which app directory, which pom.xml, which sources, and run this command. So it's going to trigger the Docker file from the Docker compose file. Okay, so now I'm going to run the Docker compose file here. So it's going to trigger the Docker file and it's going to run. Okay, for that the command is Docker compose up build. Okay, so now what is going to happen is it's going to build the Docker compose. Same thing, it's going to download all the dependencies and it's going to run, and you can see the build has been success here. Okay, so this is how we can run the Docker compose file, right, and execute via the Docker. Okay, suppose, right, I started the server, right, I started the Docker and I executed. Suppose I want to stop the container, I can just give this command, so it will be stopped. Okay, it's removing the container from the Docker. Okay, so you can start the container and you can stop the container. Okay, so this is how we can run the Rest Assured framework with the help of the Docker from the command line. Okay, hope this video is useful for you. Thanks for watching this video. Have a nice day.